Why, hello there.
I'm Jeff, and I'm programming a game in my parents' basement, where you get to start your own religion. It's called CultGame, very aptly, and I've spent the last couple months programming a really cool system, I might say, for simulating the spread of your religion across all of CultGame's procedurally generated worlds. So, very exciting stuff, and today we're going to show you all how that works. Let's get right into it. So, simulating the spread of the occult is kind of a flashy, abstract concept to model. So, like with the design of most software, we should start at what we judge to be the smallest possible building block of what we wish to model. For the spread of the occult, I reckon this to be an interaction between two people in which one person is trying to convince another to join a cult. Now that our problem definition is more refined, modeling one person trying to convince another to join a cult is a bit more approachable and less abstract. There are a lot of ways we could choose to model this. We could simulate one character making choices in a dialogue tree to convince another, similar to games like Life is Strange, where certain choices and dialogue can lead to success while others can lead to failure. I even had a thought that the results of a minigame, like a match 3 for example, could contribute to your in-game effort to convert people to your cult, sort of like how Puzzle Pirates handled sword fighting. However, I felt both of these approaches were a bit too complex after I considered that the interactions would need to be potentially simulated thousands of times in one in-game turn, as in CultGame we are simulating a world full of religions and their followers interacting with one another. In order to make the spread of the occult highly scalable, we would need to make it simple for a computer to run. With this new requirement in mind, I remembered how classic RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons have a mechanic called skill checks to see if a certain task is completed successfully. For example, if you want an NPC to join your cult, you could do a persuasion check, which is rolling a 20-sided die, adding your character's persuasion bonus, and comparing the result to the NPC stat for resistance to persuasion. If the persuasion roll is greater than the NPC's persuasion resistance, the skill check is successful, and the NPC is persuaded to join your cult. This method does not demand a lot of resources from the computer too, and it's relatively easy for computers nowadays to generate random numbers and compare them to other numbers. Without much doubt in mind, I decided to choose this method. I knew I wanted to model preaching and evangelism of the occult with simple die rolls now, but I still wanted to maintain the complexity of how in real-world situations people have lots of reasons for accepting or rejecting new religious beliefs, as well as how a lot of factors go into determining the effectiveness of a preacher. I decided that I would include this meaningful complexity through the calculation of a preaching character's appeal and the resistance to conversion of the character being preached to. The preaching appeal value would be calculated with this expression. In this way, we have the root concept of rolling a die, but also include the skill of the preacher and various other advantages they have within bonuses and their preaching modifier. For example, the preaching character could be wearing a fancy pope hat, which adds to their preaching bonus, and their cult could worship a god of water, which happens to appeal more to some demographics like mariners, increasing the preaching modifier. An example calculation could look like the following, where the d20 roll is a 10. Now this is our preaching appeal value that will be compared to the conversion resistance value of the person being preached to. To calculate the conversion resistance value, I've decided that a few things will weigh in for how resistant individuals are to converting to new religions. First is happiness. Cults have historically preyed upon unhappy people with little direction in life. Our target of preaching will have a happiness value, which will make them harder to convert the higher the happiness value is. Next is opinion. We tend to give more trust to things we have good opinions of, and I believe this extends to religion as well. If a character or population has a higher opinion of a religion, it will make them more open to learning about the beliefs and potentially becoming a convert. Lastly, we'll factor in the strength of a person's current religious beliefs into their conversion resistance. Even if people might be unhappy or if they have a good opinion of other religions, a huge reason why they might not be converted to other religions is the strength of their current religious beliefs. Having considered these three factors, I've decided that the conversion resistance calculation should look like the following. In this calculation, conversion resistance has a base value between 20 and 40 for people of most religions. Happiness and opinion are values that range from 0 to 100, such that a happiness under 50 will decrease a population's conversion resistance, and if a population has an opinion of the preaching religion under 50, it will increase their conversion resistance. Let's perform a sample calculation of conversion resistance. If we compare this calculated conversion resistance to our previously calculated preaching appeal, the preaching appeal is greater than the conversion resistance, meaning that in this preaching interaction, a person was successfully converted to the cult, and the occult has begun to spread at the smallest possible level. Okay, now that we've designed an interaction between two people, where one is trying to convince the other, we can scale this to the level of the entire in-game world to model the natural spread of religious beliefs across the planet. Here's how we do this. For each in-game month, we'll resolve what I'll now refer to as passive religion spread for each religion that exists on this tile of this 2D tile map. To do this, we get a tile on the map and first look at the populations or pops living on it. These are the distinct groups of people living on a tile of the map that are identified by their national identity and occupation. For each one of these pops, we look at all of the religions that its people belong to. For each one of these religious subgroups of a pop, we calculate the number of times that members of this pop's religious subgroup will try to convert others to their religion. This calculation is performed by multiplying the religion's evangelism stat and the size of the pop's religious subgroup. A religion's evangelism stat represents the number of times each month that a member of this religion will try to convert another person, so that a religion with an evangelism stat of 0.1 and a religious subgroup size of 100 will result in causing members of the religious subgroup to try to spread their religion 10 times each month. Now that we know how many times members of a religion from a pop will try to spread their religion, we need to figure out who they will spread their religion to. To find out who the targets of preaching will be, we will be limiting our search to pops that are either on the same tile as the preaching religious subgroup or adjacent to their tile. Any one of these potential targets for preaching is selected by a weighted random selection, where we adjust the weight by the travel cost from the preaching religious subgroup, as it makes sense that fewer in-person interactions will occur between people who are further away from one another. This means that it's going to be harder for religion to spread passively in places with rougher terrain or without roads, while religion will spread much more quickly in urbanized areas or areas with navigable terrain. Once we have a pop selected as a target of preaching, we perform yet another weighted random selection based on the size of religious subgroups to pick the religion of the targeted individual from the targeted population. Once all of this is done, we run through the preaching interaction that we just designed. We repeat this process for each population on each tile of the map, which results in a massive simulation of the natural spread of religion. Alright, so here we are now in CultGame, and we're going to be demoing for you our simulation of the spread of the occult. And the first demo we're going to show you is during world generation. So I'm going to go into world generation here. We're going to pick a big world because it's fun to look at the big worlds generate everything. We can leave everything else relatively normal. We're going to go and generate, and once I do this, we're going to see 4 years pass in game after the terrain and everything generates. We're going to see 4 years pass of the religion spreading passively after we initially set up a few religions on the world. So let's watch that. Here we are. So we have our terrain, our landmass is generated, now our terrain is popping in, and that's cool. Okay, so here are our religions, and they're quickly gobbling up some of the nearby space of becoming the dominant religions in their respective areas. Okay. So that was one generation instance where we saw 4 years of, or rather 48 months of religion being generated. So I'm going to go, and you can, when you examine the world map, there's several map modes now in this new world map UI that I made, where you have the default, where you can just look at the terrain, everything's got a normal background, religious, where you can see the dominant religion in every tile, and then you can see the political map mode. More on that in future videos, but for now we're going to be focusing on the religious map mode. And what this basically means is if a tile is of a certain color, that means a religion has more than 50%, or excuse me, not more than 50%, but has the predominant presence on the tile. The most of that tile belongs to that religion. Okay. Oh, I guess, yeah, there's a bit of an error in dealing with the pops right now in this, but that's okay. We won't look at that for now. Let's generate another world and see what the religions do on the next world. Okay. Here they come together, the land masses, and let's see what our religions look like. We got a fairly large, consistent land mass that wraps around, so it's a pretty good chance that all the religions will get to touch each other, or at least have the chance, you know, into the future to see each other. Okay. Cool. All right. So we had several big blobby religions there. We have right now the religions don't have they have the chance to have the same color. So if I were to examine these, I believe that let me go here. So this one, overview. So this is the chair ministry, and this other pink one over here is the ink ministry, and this one's the mop religion. Very weird religion names. I have to work on the name generation. Okay, but yeah. And then we have this one over here is the saber denomination. Okay. So let's generate another world. I'm gonna do this 2 more times just to show you what this looks like. Okay, we got a couple large islands here. All right, here we go. The religions are now spreading. You see when they border up against each other, they butt up against each other. There's a little bit of a conflict between who has control over those tiles. And the borders are relatively strong at the moment. Dark yonder. Okay, let's get a longer look at this. I think this might be one religion on the left-hand side here, the Red Church. Still need to correspond the religion names with the colors on the map. Okay, yeah, so, you know, same color there. That ended up happening. Okay, let's do one more. Oh, nice varied shape here of the world. Okay. Nice, okay. The chromatic plane. All right, cool. So what's interesting is that no religions got generated on that island, sort of in the middle bottom portion, that larger island in the middle bottom portion of the map. And with that, all of the default religions on the world, the default religion of every place until the religions get spread is agnosticism. So most of the time, when it's a light gray like that color, we'll have an agnosticism be the prevailing religion on those tiles. So that's actually a great place to experiment. This is a great world to experiment. So we're going to make a cult, and we're going to try spreading our religion on that space in the middle, because we won't have any competition, I would imagine. Yeah, okay. Nice. So let's we'll make a cult. We'll get into that. So go back to making a cult. So we'll give ourselves a name. Strong Bad Pilgrim, of course. Strong Bad, yes. Let's make him con artist. Wish I could make him a wrestler. Let's do deity and give him a cool name. Gwendolok. Yeah. Okay. Fire God. So we can burninate all of them. Okay, then we'll go to become filthy rich, of course. And now we have our cult made. And we will, this is now a first look at sort of what the in-game UI is going to be. You can see you have your cultists here. You can see what they're doing. You can see what month and year it is. You can see how much gold and how much faith you have and how many followers you have. So if we go into actions, that's what I just clicked right there. I can select preach, and then I can go and I can change the map mode if I want to default religious or political. Let's just check. Let's keep it religious now, just because that's what this video is demonstrating. And we can examine a tile we want to preach on. We can look at the people on the tile here, and we can see the percentage. If I examine the bureaucrats on this tile, they're all agnostic. That's okay. I will, let's just click on this tile right here in the middle of the map, the sketchy step of the halberd, or of halberd rather, and let's preach. And if I end the month, ooh, 42 followers, there we go. And I can see the report here in the monthly report of the breakdown of who I gained as a follower. And I can see Strong Bad Pilgrim, my cult leader, gained preaching skill. That's pretty good. If a character in Cult Game does a task, they will get better at the skill that lets them do that task. So we see that right there. Good. So we'll go back. And now we have some followers, and we're generating some faith every turn. That's good. So faith lets us buy theology. So you can see there's a connection between getting followers and getting upgrades and stuff like that. These are the resources we use in the game. All right, so if I go to world map here, I can see now that on this tile I have some of the people here are percentage, some of the pops are followers. So that's good. And I'm pretty sure each turn our religion will begin to spread passively as well, but we'll keep focusing on the sketchy step of the halberd right now. Let's just keep preaching here. 42 more followers, okay. And let's just keep going for a few months. 5 followers this time, all right, no problem. So right now how it ends up happening is the math is we do 1 die roll for every preach, we use the same die roll for every preach interaction, but I think I'm gonna change that. So that's why we're getting sort of consistent results here. Or semi-consistent, rather. So let's just finish up the year preaching here. All right, 1 year of preaching. We have over 1,000 faith. We have 600 followers. That's really good. You might be able to see as well after 12 more months, the other religions have begun to spread and change as well. But we don't have the amazing way to do a side-by-side comparison right now. That happens to change as well. So we go to people here. Now we have a little bit more percentage of the tile follows us right now. And that's good. That's good. So let's go to overview. And agnosticism is still the prevailing religion, but we are, if you examine these guys, we have a little bit more say. And let's go on neighboring tiles to see if we have any percentage spread, some passive spread. Yeah, we do. You can see now these neighboring tiles, the adjacent tiles, people that we've spread our religion to have begun to passively spread it as well. I think we start out with like a base evangelism of 0.1 or something, at least for testing purposes. I have it set to that. But you can see here as well that the plains nearby here, these plain tiles have a little bit more religion spread to them than this desert tile, and that's as I explained earlier. The rougher terrain will have a harder time spreading religion, as well as this tundra tile. The forest is not as bad, so we'll get there eventually. And it looks like we're not too far off from our, well, if you go up here to this desert, there's a little bit of spread up here. That's cool. One thing I do want to demonstrate is because how we did the preaching calculation, we are, and where we have our preaching modifier that affects our preach appeal, we are, as a fire cult, we are more effective towards preaching towards artisans and warriors. So there's some artisans and warriors on this tile. Oh, excuse me, no, we just have some warriors on this tile. We have some, we can try to find a tile with some warriors. Might be interesting to see how quickly we can get them on our side. There's some artisans and warriors on this guy right here, the Magenta Glen. Okay, let's go back to preach and then choose the Magenta Glen to preach on, and move Strong Bad to preaching there. And we'll do another year here just for fun, just to see what that looks like. Okay, so let's see. We can see that we have a more significant percentage of the artisans and a little bit more significant percentage of the warriors because we're more effective at preaching towards them. Isn't that pretty cool? We can see it in real time. Okay, so I think that's a good demonstration so far of the active preaching that we can do, like we've just been showing you, where we can send someone to sort of be a proximity influence for converting people to our cult, and the passive religion spread as well, where our religion is passively spreading and the other religions in the world have passively spread. Pretty cool stuff. I love to see my game working after so long. And I hope you guys have really enjoyed it too. I think it's going to be something really special.
Thank you for sharing a bit of your day with me and watching this video. I really appreciate the chance to check in with you guys on the progress I'm making, especially when you leave such nice comments about like how this looks like the game you've been looking forward to for a really long time, or how this looks better than anything you've seen in AAA. I don't even know what to say. It warms my heart, and it's gives me purpose, so thank you.
I need to be a bit more modest with these video goals and what I'm going to show off though in the future, because I want to do this more often with you guys. I really think it's good for both raising awareness about the game and for giving you some much due communication. The next devlog is going to be about upgrades and infrastructure, so please look forward to that. I'd like to shout out our supporters next, people who have donated on Ko-Fi. Those people are C Standard IO, Adele4, Florian Rorwick, and Jethro. Thank you again to each and every one of you guys, and it really just gives me hope that I can continue to do what I love for the rest of my life. So thank you, from the bottom of my heart, in the most YouTube creator stereotypical way possible. Just thanks, appreciate it. If you'd like to support me, but please never feel obligated to. If you'd like to tip me, you can do so in Ko-Fi, which is in the description below, also in the Linktree link that I have in every video. Okay, and if you're watching this video near the time that it's come out, CultGame is going to be on display at the Torg Gaming Expo from November 1st, 2024 to November 3rd, 2024. And you can come there, and I'm going to have a booth, and it's going to be all decorated. I'm going to be wearing these cultist robes. I'm going to have my bone hand, the one I got right here. And you can come and hang out with me, and at the convention, at the Greater Columbus Convention Center, you can come hang out with me, play the game, and I have some free merch to give to you while I'm in my cultist robes. I have CultGame stickers. I think these turned out really nice. They're nice, thick, and durable. You can put them on water bottles, and they won't take any water damage. I've tried with my own, so really nice stuff. And then these are for free, by the way, when you come into my booth. Then I also have, if you identify yourself as a cult leader, if you've played CultGame before, or if you play the alpha and you have a good experience or you just want one, I will give you a cult leader license. There we go. Yeah, your own cult leader license. This bearer, the bearer of this relic has proven themselves worthy of the esteemed title of cult leader. Yeah, on the back I got some links to my stuff and also a fun little description. You can pause and read that if you want. Yeah. Whoop. Anyway, these are really fun. Come to the booth and get some free stuff. If you identify yourself as a cult leader or have had Greek life experience in college, I will also deem you worthy of a cult leader license. So check me out there. And otherwise, look forward to putting out the next video after a little bit of a break, because it's been a while. Take a little break and get back right into it. Thank you again so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.